I was preparing a presentation for my cognitive science degree, and I experienced this amazing phenomenon. It's just not a very positive one. As I was preparing the slides, I decided to try to record while I was making them, just to practice and see what was missing. And I actually did a really good job with it. I sounded natural and everything was flowing. As soon as I sat down to record for real, I don't even know what happened. I just became this really weird robot that talked super weirdly and everything sounded awful. Like, I didn't even remember what I was supposed to say, even though it was literally right in front of my eyes on the slide. You're super funny when you're hanging out with your friends or talking to your dog or just muttering to yourself in the car, but as soon as you go on a first date with someone who you actually like, you become this non-person who doesn't make any sense. Why is this happening? Why do we mess up when it matters the most? The answer to this question actually brings together findings from neuroscience and philosophy, and it all fits together beautifully into this one big puzzle. And when you can see the whole thing, you can also see the solution to fixing everything. There's a scientist who spent years studying exactly this, and she found something that's just a little bit infuriating. So when you're relaxed, like I was when I was just practicing, you're not really thinking about what to say or how to say it, how to structure your sentence. You're just natural and you just do it. If you mess up a word, then it's fine. You can just repeat it and you move on. But then the stakes go up. Now, let's say you're presenting in front of an audience and now your brain goes, oh my God, this is so important. I have to do it absolutely perfect. I can't mess up anything. And it becomes this strict manager that's like looking over your shoulder and watching everything you do. And that extra attention and awareness is exactly what messes you up. Here's an interesting illustration from a study. Researchers had one group of golfers do some putts and pay attention to a specific part of their swing, for example, when the club hits the ball. And then they had another group of golfers also do some putts, but for those, they actually gave them some distractions, like they had to listen to an audio track and listen for a specific word. And who do you think did better? You will probably assume that the ones who were distracted did worse, but it was actually the opposite. The ones who were focusing on their technique, like how they were moving their arm, did a lot worse than the ones who were distracted. And that's exactly what's happening to me and you when we're also trying to do something that's important to us. So let's take a look at what's happening inside the brain. If you look at the head from above, the left temporal region is associated with verbal analytical processes, so the area where you do conscious thinking in words. And the frontal midline region is the premotor area that's responsible for planning movement. A study found that people who tend to consciously monitor and control their movements have much more activity between these two areas, meaning their verbal analytical brain region was talking to their movement planning region. But as you become better at a skill, logically, you would need to use less of your thinking brain to control what your body is doing. It would become more automatic, and there should not be so much connectivity between the thinking brain and the motor cortex. And that's exactly what another study confirmed. They found that when you're already good at a skill, there's less activity between these two brain areas, and trying to use your thinking brain to perform well could actually make your performance worse. And you know what? That exactly matches what the golfing experiment found. It's like your thinking brain starts micromanaging your doing brain and watching over every little thing you do, like the evil manager watching over your shoulder at work, and you can't even focus on your job because he's breathing down your neck. If you had to think about every tiny movement you have to do to walk, you would not be able to walk anymore. Like your brain would explode. All right, so now you know why you mess up in important moments and what's happening in your brain, but you probably also want to know how to fix it. And I actually found a solution to that while I was practicing my presentation. It's definitely the hard way and not one that I recommend, but I managed to manufacture a state of not caring, and you can do that too. Let me show you how. So here's the first piece of that puzzle I was mentioning. In Stoic philosophy, there's this concept called the dichotomy of control, which basically means there are some things you can control and some things you can't. Like, for example, you can control the way you move your body, but you can't control the way another person will perceive you or think about you. The fear you feel in a high-stakes moment is obviously not about the part that you can control. Like, I know how to move my body. I'm not afraid of moving my mouth and speaking. What you're afraid of is the part that you don't control, how people will think about you, the part that comes after. You're doing something, but your mind is associating it with a future reaction of other people. So as I was speaking my presentation, I was already evaluating it as if I was my own spectator. Like, oh, that sounded weird. Why did she say that? That made no sense at all. And wow, she looks so awkward. And then I couldn't even speak normally anymore. All I saw in my head was the reaction of other imaginary people watching my presentation. I had to record this video and I got so sick of recording it over again and over again and over again that I finally just stopped caring. And that's when I finally got a half decent take. I basically forced myself to stop caring about the outcome by doing it until I was sick of it. It is horrible, but it works. Now, the easier way to do it, if you can manage, is to consciously shift your attention away from how you're doing something. One scientist found how to do this. I don't dare to try to pronounce his name, but he spent decades studying athletes, musicians, and all kinds of people, trying to figure out what happens in people's minds when they perform at their best. And here's what he found. When people describe their best performances, they all say the same thing, that they weren't thinking about themselves at all. All they were thinking about was the thing that they were doing. He called this a flow state. It's when you lose track of time, you forget that you're hungry, you practically forget that you exist even. And the only thing that you're thinking about is the activity that you're absorbed in. So in a nutshell, this is all very counterintuitive. Attention hurts you and distractions help you. At least when it comes to things you're good at that normally run on autopilot. All you need to do really is become the perfect stoic and just totally stop caring. But if your micromanaging brain doesn't let you do that, here are two things that you can do. Firstly, you can brute force your way into not caring by, like me, doing it over and over and over again until you're completely going insane and you're just completely letting go of control. Or you can give your micromanaging brain a distraction. It has to be something that keeps your thinking brain busy so that your doing brain can be free to do. So it could be a puzzle, some math formulas, or like the golfers, they had to listen for a specific word in a recording, whatever works, just as long as it keeps you busy. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it all the way to the end, we super appreciate it. Please leave us a like and subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We'd love to monetize this channel and keep producing content for you that breaks down super cool concepts in neuroscience, philosophy, psychology, and all sorts of cool things. And also, if you would like to be part of a community of people like you and me who love learning from each other, studies are super cool, but I love learning from people's experience. I've shared my own in this video, and I'd love to do some studies and experiments with other people in the future. If you're interested in this, then join our free Discord group. It's linked in the description below. You know what you remind me of? When Aang and Katara are dancing at the Fire Nation. Okay. Am I like, well, this is me being natural. I don't stare at something when I'm natural. Okay. So why is this happening? Like, why do I feel weird now?
Yeah, is your brain becoming consciously aware of what's going on?
Yes, very much. Science. What are you doing? Glitch. Brain glitch.